Hey, hey, my friends. It's me, Stephanie, and I want to have a little heart-to-heart moment with you, if you will allow me. And I've actually given this a little bit of thought, and so I've prepared a little visual. If you're like me, and sometimes audio goes in and doesn't quite land or register, I want to share this for your eyeballs too, because I feel like it's important to talk about and hold together. So if you feel like you've been holding uh, the weight of the world, the weight of your clients, the weight of your practice alone, let's just make a little bit of space to share it together. So let me share my screen. Okay, and you can kind of see me here. I wanna do this. Okay, so let's name this. Are you feeling the uncertainty that is swirling around us right now? And I want to talk about how intensives fit into that. So, are you feeling it? It's a hard time to be a therapist, right? It is. Therapists are feeling the stress and the uncertainty in our world. Oh, you know what? Oops. Let's go back. Okay. Therapists are feeling the stress and the uncertainty in our world, politically, economically. There's a lot happening. And, not only are we holding that energetically and in our bodies and our hearts and our minds, there's also this piece about being unsure about what it means for our businesses and the bottom line. What keeps your lights on and food on the table. I know that if you're like me, you are already planning and like steps ahead, and maybe are already stressing about the summer and like concerned about what it's going to mean. Is it going to mean less sessions? Is it going to mean less income? And I just want to say, you are not alone. So let's talk about summer. You've been around the private practice world. You know that summer gets labeled as the slow season. And rightfully so, right? A lot of things happen in the summer. The sun is out. For a lot of people, that can mean a shift in their mood, more energy, more movement. Like all of that is really, really good. And that impacts our business. So, yes, summer gets a bad rap in the therapy community in some ways. It's labeled as the slow season or the summer slump, however you want to call it. And today, what I want to think about is what if instead of thinking of the summer as like, oh, constricting and like, that fear response or that like bracing for impact, what if we thought about it as something that's actually full of possibility? So stay with me for a minute and let's talk about this. So, in the summer, clients tend to have more flexibility with their schedules, right? It's just natural. People tend to work less. I think they're traveling, kids are out of school, so the normal routines that happen throughout the year are just not there. And so if you're doing routine weekly therapy, that can be extremely disruptive. But it doesn't have to be. So clients have more flexibility. families are looking for more support. It's tough to be a parent in the summer, especially when they're getting ready for the fall, for the school year to start, whether that's like preschool or grade school or college age kids. Um, and when you've been home all summer with your kids, like some things might be popping off in your family, more conflict, more tension. So families want more support before the fall. And I think summer, kind of like the new year, is this time where we naturally want some kind of reset, right? Like I live in the Midwest, but for most of my life, I grew up in the West Coast where there really wasn't, like, seasons just weren't really a thing. They weren't all that different. But here, if you live somewhere where the seasons are different, like, there's just this natural, like, you know, what's the word? I'm not thinking blooming, but like undoing, right? You want a refresh, you want a reset. Like the earth is changing, and so there's something in us that like naturally wants to change too. I think there's like a readiness or like a ripeness that happens at this time of year. And so I'm thinking, what does this mean for us as therapists to be mindful and responsive to that, not just how we are connecting with clients one to one in session, but in how we model and structure our services and our business. So, if you're like, if that excites you, let's geek out on it. So, the summer, right? I'm going to take you to this top right area first. This is kind of backwards. So, therapists tend to have more openings in their schedule during the summer. Clients are naturally wanting transformation, change, blossoming, openness. What is, put those two together, right? What does that equal? It is a season made for intensives. Okay? It's the perfect match. Very similarly to what happens at the end of the year and the start of the year, right? So I didn't know this until I was offering intensives very regularly in my practice, but the highest number of inquiries came in the summer and around that end of year, start of year time frame. And I think this is why. So, why is this important for us as therapists who are running our practice and heading into the summer season? Intensives thrive in the summer. Why is that? Right? First of all, it's just true. So, whether you believe me or not, it's just true. I have experienced that, and many other therapists who offer intensives have also seen this trend. I think part of it is flexibility. Intensives are really, really perfect for like when people's schedules are just all over the place, they can't commit to Mondays at 1 p.m. anymore. But maybe they're traveling or getting the kids to this camp or wherever, but they can commit to a 3-day experience or, a weekend or whatever it is. So the flexibility, the freedom, still being able to do the work that is needed and necessary without committing to weekly appointments. Huge, huge benefit. And then how high, excuse me, I'm like excited, so I'm like swallowing my own spit. They're high impact, right? So we talked about this like natural thing that happens in us when the seasons change towards the spring and summer, right? Clients just have this readiness, they have this ripeness, and then an intensive is such a good fit for that because it's so high impact. So I'm getting excited. Here's my thought and my encouragement to you. If you've been feeling this like uncertainty or just nervousness or heaviness, right? The heaviness. Whew. I'm like, I just, give yourself a little shake that off what you need to do. Maybe it's like a little bit deeper. If you're a parent, it makes me think of Bluey, she has anger inside and she like grabs it all out and like throws it in the ocean. So I think there's things we're holding that are impacting us and changing the way we approach our work and our business. So, what if instead of coming into the summer with this like bracing for impact, you know, it's uncertain, I'm going to pause, I'm going to wait and see, like I have to gear up for this. What if instead of having that posture, you made a mindful and what's the opposite of reactionary? Purposeful? Yeah, mindful decision to like pivot this summer, right? What if you use what has been labeled as uncertain or summer slump or, whatever expectations have been uh, written for you there? What if you use that time to reimagine how you work, to build a more sustainable income, to expand your impact and your schedule in a different way, right? What if the things I love this. This is right. This is like a superpower. So the things that the same things that make summer scary for us can also be the things that make it so liberating and so exciting. So, what if this was the season you brought intensives to life in your practice, right? Things are changing anyway. So, you can keep doing what you've been doing and feel the stress and the strain. You can say, well, what if I give this a shot? Honestly, what do I have to lose, right? Because if clients book it, then great, that's sessions and income. And if they don't, okay, well, now you have it on deck for a moment when the right client does come along and it is a good fit for them. So um, I think it's such a smart thing to do, a smart business move. So anyway, I'm like all over the place. This is from my heart. This is like not at all what I was thinking direction we were going to go to. I want to talk about the Launch Guide Cohort because it just occurred to me. I was talking to my coach and a friend of mine about how the cohort has changed. So maybe you're totally new to my world and you're like, I don't even know what this is. It's the first time I've ever heard about it. Okay, cool. I want to tell you about it. But if you've been around the block, this this summer cohort for Launch Guide is going to look a lot different because I know therapists are busy. I know that it's hard to watch a lesson or work on a template or get assignments done when you're just on your own and like the free time or a nap is calling to you, which please take a nap. Like I almost always support a nap. Um, so we've made a shift in how the cohort is going to work. And this is honestly just how I work is listening to real people and therapists who are in the experience and saying, okay, how can we flow and flex this so that it is really exactly what you need? So the Launch Guide cohort is starting, it's running June and July. So every week, minus one in July when I'm traveling, every week there are live small group sessions. And what they are designed to do, one, in the first hour, we're doing the teaching and the information about how to bring intensives into your practice. And then the second hour, we are intentionally using that space to take action and make it happen. So that might look like pulling up a template and entering in your price and getting your paperwork ready. Or that might look like working on an email to a client who you think would be a great fit and inviting them into an intensive. So it's like literally learning and then doing it together on the call. And the benefit is it's on your schedule. So it's not like a thing on your checklist you like just keep pushing back, day after day, week after week. But it's with me, it's with other therapists, it's highly structured, broken up into the cohort is 6 weeks, but I've added a bonus welcome call and a bonus closing call. So 8 weeks altogether. And you get together with the small group and you're learning about how to add intensives to your practice in the simplest, most effective way possible. And then you're doing it, right? Like doing the tasks. And I'm there to answer questions, to keep you pumped, to keep you motivated, so that if there's a client who wants an intensive this summer, you can do it. You can offer it and you don't have to feel stressed or self-conscious or, self-doubt. You'll have it all prepped. So it's a big deal. I love to learn with other people. Um, and I think our like learning is just so much richer when we do it with others. So that is a little taste of what the Launch Guide cohort is all about. And not only are you like learning from me and the other therapists who are in your cohort, you're also like gaining all the insight and wisdom of the hundreds of therapists who have gone before you, right? That's how the curriculum was built. That's how the templates and the scripts were built. Like, this is a pretty well-oiled machine at this point, so that almost anything you could ever want or need is included. I'll say is included in the VIP experience. So most people, majority of people, want to upgrade to get all of those templates to just make your life so easy peasy. Um, like not reinvent the wheel at all. And the reality is, if there's something that would help make your experience better, usually we'll just make it together. So I mean, that's how a lot of this course was built, like co-created with other therapists. So anyway, I'm getting distracted. Let me stay on track. So what's included? The live weekly sessions in June and July, real-time support, gentle accountability, and the small group energy, the good vibes. We really, really enjoy being together. And when you spend, once a week with somebody and you're used to seeing them, it's a really special relationship. So you launch your intensives while we work together. And for some people, that means scheduling your first one before we're even done. So exciting. Okay, before we do this, I feel like I want to show you. Can I show you? I don't know how long this has been running. I want to show you. I'll link it below if you want to take a look at the cohort schedule and like what is happening on each of the weeks, because I feel like that makes it like way more tangible and real. Okay, Stephanie, I should for real do this. I didn't want you to see my uh truly insane desktop after hosting the summit. There's stuff everywhere. Okay, I have it here. I had it ready. Here you go. So I'm a planner. I like to have things organized. So this is what's happening in the cohort. Welcome week is first week in June. We're doing the welcome call and we're focusing on module 0, which is the foundations. What are intensives? Who is your ideal client? Why are you offering them? Why would someone like want to do an intensive with you instead of weekly therapy? Like, what's the difference? We want to make sure this is super, super solidified and that everything you do, every decision you make is in service to this ideal client who you're designing this experience for. So that's a super important first module. Week one, we're doing the watch party, which is where we learn together first, and then we do the co-working call. And I'll show you what is in each of those. So week two, week three, week four, that takes us through June. Then we head into July. I mentioned there's 1 week we do not have a call. I will be traveling out of the country. But it's a good week to use as just a buffer or a catch up. If you've fallen behind, life happens, like it's summer for you too. Maybe you're traveling or something. This is just a bonus like buffer week to work on the tasks. And if you're like, what tasks are you even talking about? Let me show you. So everybody who joins the cohort gets this overview. They get a copy of the Launch Guide workbook, which has everything you need from all the lessons and curriculum to help you map out how intensives will work for you and your clients. They get access to the student-only Facebook group. There is a welcome survey, of course, the course itself, and then we play bingo. So as you're like checking things off your to-do list, you have chances to win prizes because that's just fun. You don't want it to be like homework that you're dreading. It should be fun work. So here's our plan of action. Each week has specific tasks. So like I mentioned, what's your why? Who's your ideal client? Why is an intensive appealing to them? So we're really thinking about it. The next week, we're focusing on format and schedule. So that's where you decide what's the length of time, the duration of your sessions, and the frequency. We're going to look at your availability and schedule. Where will the intensives go? For some people, that's actually a pretty complicated discussion. And then there's bonuses that relate to each module. So it's all connected here. Some of those bonuses are guides, some of them are, trainings, strategy sessions. There's a whole variety. So the next week is all about pricing. So we're determining your rate. Are you going to create a package? Or are you going to bill hourly? And then once you have those initial decisions made, you can start to work on some of these templates that showcase your intensives to your clients and to your referral sources. So that's really exciting. And then there's some bonuses around money mindset. The next week, we are looking at paperwork and policies. So the to-dos or the action steps is you determine when payments are due or your payment schedule. I'll help you decide on the cancellation policy that works best for you and your values. At that point, you'll be ready to create your paperwork because you've already made the key decisions. Now it's just plugging it in. Again, if you're VIP, you're just plugging it into the template and then adding your paperwork to your EHR. So when you have an intensive client ready to book, you can just send them that paperwork for their e-signature. So I have a bonus here. It's the complete checklist for your EHR, what you want to make sure you have ready to go in there for your intensives. And if you use Simple Practice, I've done a video tutorial to guide you through each of those things. All right, the next week, preparing for initial inquiries. So the idea is if someone says, yes, I want to do it, okay, we want to have everything on deck ready to go. So if someone reaches out when you're on vacation or in between sessions, you don't have to scramble. It's already mapped out and you feel really, really confident to share it with your potential client. So that looks like email responses, screening questions, looking at your consult call, what it is that you want to cover during that, and a follow-up email afterwards. So there's an entire bonus that's a mini course about consult calls for intensives because they are absolutely different than calls you would have for weekly therapy. And then there's, along with that, a guide to help you map out sort of like a script or an agenda for your consult calls. And a role play with a therapist who is pretending to be a very tricky client on a consult call for an intensive. The next week, we are looking at the pre-intensive interview prep. So that intake session. This is where we work on customizing your client workbook and then working out some of the back end things, how you're going to send it to your clients, and just prepping some email communication, prepping your agenda for that intensive session, pre-intensive session, sorry, and then an email afterward. So you can see it's a very detailed, and the idea is, you're taking a specific time frame to get all this mapped out so that in the moment it's all ready for you. It's that structure and scaffolding so that all you have to do is show up and be really present to your clients. And then this last week, we're looking at the intensive session itself, as well as the post-intensive or that follow-up session. So we're planning your intensive day agenda, what is happening there. There's a sample script or guide for that, what you want to cover in your post-intensive session, and then planning for your self-care and what's going to happen at the very end, how you communicate with the client once the experience has come to a close. And there's a freebie to help you reflect on what the intensive was like for you and what you want to continue to do and what you want to change up. And then that last week of July, we're meeting for a closing call. And this is really just space to reflect on the whole experience, to check in, to express gratitude and celebration towards, the people in your cohort you've been journeying with this whole time, and set clear intention for like what is next, because this is a huge, huge accomplishment to go through this and to be working through the material and really setting a foundation for yourself and for your future clients. So it's a labor of love, and we want to make sure there's time to like reflect and celebrate and just express gratitude. So that is what the cohort time looks like. That's what we're doing in the cohort. So every single meeting is 2 hours. In that first hour, we're doing the learning. And in the second hour, we are taking action. So that might look like co-working and live Q&A. I hope that helps kind of like demystify a little bit. If you have questions, which I'm sure will come up, feel free to send me an email or just pop them down below, whatever you feel most comfortable with. So I'm going to take us back to our slides because I'm feeling very organized. And let's end on this one together. So this is your moment, right? We are turning into a new season. The summer is coming. You get to decide how you want to handle that. If it's going to be with like this fear and heaviness and uncertainty. And if that's where you are, like I honor that. And I think there's this invitation to like open your hands and shake some of that to see what could this new season bring? Because we literally do not know. We do not know what is going to happen in the world, or in our businesses, or in our bodies. Like there's so much unknown. And and so I think it's this invitation and opportunity to be open, to instead of pause, to pivot, right? So, final thoughts. This is your moment. You get to decide how to approach it. If you've got the space this summer, if you're craving clarity, structure, and purpose, if you're ready to expand your practice in a way that feels good, let's do it together. I would love to. Love, love, love it. So I've saved you a seat if you want to join me inside the Launch Guide cohort. There's still room in the workshop as well if that's more your speed. But let's make your next season more sustainable, more spacious, and more aligned. I feel it. I feel it so much. All right, my friend. Very last thing, uncertainty isn't a stop sign, it's an invitation to get creative. So, my wish for you is that some of that heaviness will melt away, like the winter is melting from our world right now, and that you I don't know, that you're warmed inside, that you feel freedom to expand, blossom, bloom, get creative, not just in your sessions with clients, but even in your concept of how therapy can be offered and delivered. Um, there's just so much more. So, lots of love to you. I'm here if you want to chat more. There's a Zoom link too. If you want to hop on a call or DM me and say, that was my voice memo, like your phone, and say, hey, I'm thinking about this. I'm not totally sure. What do you think? Like, can we chat? More than welcome. Happy to do that. And regardless of whether you take the step in Launch Guide, I sincerely want this for you, and just love this chance to be creative together. So that is all. That is all. Take good care. Bye. I don't know how to make this stop.